Yeah, and we go back to England and you growing up as a kid. Can you talk about what life was like over there?
Yeah, I had a great childhood, to be fair. I didn't meet my dad till 8 or 9. There could be something lay there that I've not really addressed, maybe. I grew up with my mum and my grandma in the same house. My mum went to work, did the typical old traditional of the dad role. Back then, I know that's not the same anymore. My mum went to work and worked her absolute bottom off. Can I swear on here? I don't know.
You can. Yeah.
Her ass off for us, and we lived with my gran, and my gran took me to school, did all the mum things, made my dinners and teas and breakfasts, and she was a beautiful person. But I do remember my gran being quite negative at times, and a little bit more on the angry side. But I had a good childhood. I enjoyed my experiences. I enjoyed school a little bit. I remember getting bullied in primary school, but you move on, and it didn't. I don't think that really changed my life. And then basketball kind of gave me my purpose. I started playing basketball at the age of 9, 10 years old, and it took me off the streets, so to say. And I was at basketball every day.
So how did you get into that?
Oh, I had an American coach come in to the primary school, a guy called Jeff Jones. I can name him, and I still know him today. I've not spoken to him in a long time, but Jeff came in, this American dude, tall, with the American accent, and I was like, "This is cool.
Yeah,
I want to play some basketball." And
did you know much about basketball?
No, he did the clinic,
wow.
And my mate started to play, and I actually didn't go on with that clinic to the team, and then went into high school. We started high school at 11 in England, and 4 weeks in, my friend said they needed a bit of a fill-in for 6 weeks, and I said to Mum, "Can I play for 6 weeks?" Never stopped. Just stayed playing basketball. Even still to this day, I've never stopped, and it kind of took me around the world. I was able to go to the States, to the All-Star game, on a trip to New York to watch the NBA games.
That's crazy. Who do you go for?
Well, growing up, I was just a Michael Jordan fan.
Yeah.
I thought I was a Bulls fan, but since he retired, I obviously didn't really follow the Bulls. So it turns out I was probably just more of a Michael Jordan fan. And I spent all my 18th birthday money in 2001 to go and watch him play at the Garden. And I just remember having tears, like all the the documentaries, and you could see kids crying. That was me. And I was on the sideline just watching him and in tears. And I just loved the way he played. I loved what he stood for as a man and a role model. And he was amazing.
Yeah.
And I just followed the game through him and played the game like him, even though I'm only 5'11".
Would you say the game of basketball's evolved? Because I watch basketball but I'm not fully in on it.
Yeah.
I'm more like a cricket and a footy person, but I do watch some basketball. And those two sports have evolved. Would you say basketball has?
Definitely. I mean, I think Steph Curry's definitely changed the game in the way he. One, he's small, but he was all the talk he was never going to make it. Was it because of his height and because of his body build? But look what he's done.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough. I played with his teammate at Davidson. And he's actually appeared on Leading Our Own Way.
Yes.
So
you were mentioning that you've interviewed him or going to.
No, I've done that.
Already done.
I'm interviewing Alan Stein Jr., Steph Curry's performance coach. I'm going to be I'm interviewing him in April.
Oh, very good.
So it's going to be a while yet. He's such a busy guy.
Yes.
So I tried to get him on the podcast, but he's agreed
in advance.
So
well, that's good. That's a good start. That's a very. I'll take it for sure. But I was hearing yesterday that I found out that the LA Clippers stadium has been taken by this Meta, the owner of Microsoft. And I don't know if you've heard about the stadium, but you have to, talking about the evolution of stadiums and all this technological stuff. You go into the stadium, you download the app. Have you heard of this? You download the stadium app and you walk in, and everything that you do in this stadium, whether you pay for merch or food, goes onto your card in the app.
They do it in Melbourne.
Do they?
Yeah, they don't do an app though. You walk in and you just put a deposit on it, and whatever you buy out at the cafeteria or wherever you are, it scans it as you go in, and then as you go out, and it'll give the change back. So let's say it's a $20 deposit and you've paid 17, 3 will go back on your card.
Oh,
at one of the stations in Melbourne.
That's
I forgot
crazy.
which one it is, but
yeah. Well, I think it was like a $2 billion project to make the stadium. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but
it's kind of scary.
It's
Imagine
scary.
the hacking on that.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You've been hacked all day, and then yet you've got stadiums that you can walk in. It's horrible. But you came to back to the topic. You came to Australia. Is this to talk and play for basketball? And
so I was part of the Eltham Wildcats club in Australia, which is about 40 minutes north of Melbourne. And so I was doing my whole backpacking. We was part of the club there, and then I went home, taught in a high school for a few years, and the only way back into Australia was to become a student. So I couldn't get on the teaching course in the UK. Passionate about teaching. That came from coaching basketball as such a young, as a teenager. Wanted to be around kids, wanted to coach them, and how could I do that? I didn't really want to be a sports development officer, or I was coaching basketball in England, ended up coaching the men, and I quit coaching the men to come to study here in Australia, and I was doing really well. And I look at some of the coaches now that were in a way behind me at the time. They're coaching professional basketball in the UK. So I probably would have gone in that direction if I'd stayed, but the career I was really chasing to become a teacher, and I paid $25,000, £15,000 to become an international student here, and then it kind of just came from there. And I was back involved with Eltham Wildcats as the assistant coach for the men.
Yes.
So I was back involved in the club 4 years later, where I was 4 years before, and I was the coach, and it was a great experience. I learned a lot from the head coach. The players are way better than me. They're bigger than me for one, but they were incredible, and we made it to the state finals, but lost to Ringwood in the final.
Yeah. When you were a kid, did you always want to be a basketballer? Was that your dream goal?
When I started, yeah.
And then you decided you want to be a teacher.
I think coaching kids was where that stemmed from.
Yeah.
People put me off becoming a teacher straight from university. People's like, don't do this, don't do that because of this. I was like, yeah, and I listened, and I probably stepped away, became a financial advisor in the UK before traveling, earned all this money off. I earned pretty good money, but I was getting it from people in their debt. I just didn't feel right after a while. So I used the money that I did earn to go traveling the world, borrowed a bit from my mum, and which I'm very grateful for, and then went home and pursued the teaching because it came back to me. And I thought, no, that's really, the calling just kind of was in my head. And but it turns out, as we get into it, what people were saying to me was probably right.